Greetings, my name is Stephen Reiff, and I'm standing here in the Hub Culture studio in Davos, and I'm standing with Carlos Fernandes, who is the CEO of Blaze, which is a company that turns news into memes. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about kind of how you started this company, and how are millennials viewing news differently than prior generations?
So it's fascinating. One of the interesting research reports I read was they said that Comedy Central is one of the most trusted news sources.
Really?
And it's kind of surprising to me because I love Trevor Noah. I find it incredibly funny, and it got me thinking. And I think it's trusted because there's an authenticity associated with the news. And when you turn it into a comedy, it simplifies the thought process and cuts out all the extra fluff. So I think that's what consumers want. They want real news that they can view unfiltered and consume unfiltered.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it.
So then with that knowledge, how did you come up with the idea for Blaze, and how are you looking to capitalize on how millennials are consuming news?
So I think there are a couple of factors, right? One is that memes are incredibly viral, right? People share memes, and sometimes you receive memes, but you don't understand what it means if you don't have the context, right? So memes and context is important. So what we thought was, wouldn't it be interesting if people could create their own memes of news, but actually attach it to the source news article, right? So then if you want to skim through and just glance through the news in memes,
so I'll just be on my phone and just skimming through memes?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it still gives you an idea about what is actually happening, right? And if you want to dig in deeper, right, and understand more about the story, you click on the link and you actually go to the specific publication that's covering that news.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're here in Davos, World Economic Forum. One of the biggest topics of conversations this year has been this conversation around fake news. So how is your company thinking about fake news and incorporating that or not, or how is that playing into what you're doing?
So I think there are two dynamics here. One is like clearly fake news, and the other thing is clickbait, exaggerated news, which gets people to just
the BuzzFeed type of
BuzzFeed kind of stuff. And many of these established news brands can't afford to do that, right? Because while they want traffic to their websites, they can't afford to dilute their brand and the seriousness associated with it. But if they empower their readers to go about creating these memes in any way they want, right? And you read it as a commentary from a friend, right? And then you dig in and you actually see the originating article. So that doesn't have that sort of liability or that sort of responsibility associated with it, right? And at the end of the day, these companies still get their distribution right. When it comes to fake news in particular, we have a product that's basically a B2B product that we'll give to various publishers, but we also have our own product which does the same thing but aggregates all this content from different publishers. So one of the things we do is we go through a vast set of publishers and choose the ones with a very specific track record, right? That being said, you can't absolutely be sure about what is fake and what isn't, right? And but that's how we try to handle or at least minimize the problems associated with it.
Okay, that makes sense. And I love one of the things you were talking about earlier is just the creativity and the humor and the Comedy Central. And when I'm scrolling through my newsfeed, we're living in intense times. There's North Korea, there's Russia. I feel like every day there's a new headline in intense times. So is part of the vision to bring some creativity and levity when we're going through the news? Is that part of your hope as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can think about news from publishers, but you can also think about news and takes from commentators. So why do you listen to Trevor Noah? Why do you go on Comedy Central? Sorry, that's because that's an interesting spin. And comedians like to connect things from different places, and it all sort of comes together, right? So I can foresee a time when you have these comedians that are creating these memes, or just creative people. They don't have to be funny, but that are linking these things and creating a whole new insight, right? It's like reading like an op-ed in like 5 words. And one of the names we were toying with, like, what do we call this? I wanted to call it like 1,005 words, because a picture is 1,000 words and the actual text is another 5, right? So I think that's an interesting way to get more millennials really engaged with the news, more aware of what's going on around them, and in a format that they're sort of accustomed to. So if you think about, YouTube took America's funniest videos and scaled that on a platform level. We're trying to take a similar concept and scale that on a platform level.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Speaking of 5 words, right before the shoot, I took a photo and made a meme. Can we show that meme on the screen? Want to make sure we're practicing what we preach. Okay, great. Hopefully you can put that on a blaze and we'll take off from here. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much
We
for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Thank you.